Okay, so this is our axle, and it's going to fit in to these axle flange fasteners. So we put on a new axle flange gasket here. You just buy those where you buy your seals. They're nice because they seal really well. They're easy to take off and put on. You put silicone on there, it doesn't stick, and also it makes a big, mess for the next guy to come in and clean all this stuff off, right? See how that somebody had put silicone on there? That didn't even adhere to anything. I'd stay away from that and go with the purpose-made gasket. Now when you put these axles in, this axle here is going to spline down into your side gear. So when you put it in, it's going to be laying low like this in the hole. The side gear is right in the middle, so there's a little technique that's going to help you from damaging your fingers. So you'll feel it come in, and what you want to do is you want to grab the axle and you want to lever it up so the end goes into the hole in the side gear. And see how our fingers aren't in behind the flange here? Right there, when it went in, that would have caught my finger between the stud and the flange here, and that would have been a pinch point. That's not a good day at the office. So we want to avoid that. Again, see, my hands aren't in behind here, but they're on the outside of this, and we're just now simply allowing that to line up with the holes. And once it goes pretty quick, so you don't want to have your fingers in behind there. You'll jam them up on something here, and that's not a nice day. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put the axle flange nuts on, and we're going to torque them to the specification that the manufacturer outlines. And then we're going to adjust up the brakes, and we're going to check the differential level, and make sure all the oil's off the inside of the hub and off the back of the wheel. If you've had a vehicle that's come in for a wheel cylinder, or pardon me, a wheel seal, there'll be oil traces on the back side of this wheel. It looks like it's still leaking. So you don't want to have the guy go out to the scales and then they say, well, there's oil on the back side of your wheel. It's a wheel seal leaking, and it's only because you hadn't cleaned the oil off the back. It's a perfectly good wheel seal in there. So part of that job is to make sure the rim and the tire and the back side of the tire are all free of oil, so that it indicates to anybody inspecting it that it's not a leaking wheel seal, because they'll definitely pull you over for that. We may want to put the wheel back down to final torque these, which I'm going to do because it's up in the air. So we'll come back to this, but don't forget to torque those on. If you've had the wheel off here at the wheel studs, very critical that you torque those wheel nuts with a torque wrench in a crisscross pattern. So get them on snug, bring them up to your first torque, usually about halfway of the final torque, and then go to your final torque in a crisscross pattern. Make sure that these hand holes for the valve stems are opposite one another, because if you don't get them lined up right, these two dual wheels, the driver may not be able to access the valve stem if you haven't paid attention to orientation. Or you get them both on the same side, and then you have a dickens of a time filling it with air. And whatever you do when you're filling these vehicles on a service, you make sure you fill the inside tire as well as the outside tire, okay? Because very critical that you have equal tire pressure in both these wheels. We're going to go ahead and we're going to adjust up the brakes, so we'll zoom over there and have a look, and then we'll drop the wheel.